As a home inspector who opens up multiple electrical panels pretty much every day of my life, I see a lot of electrical nonsense. I see a lot of unsafe wiring. I see a lot of violations. I see a lot of just poor practices. Some of the things that we see are minor. Some of the things that we see are very common, like double taps on breakers. And then sometimes we see just some crazy, really bad things. These are two sub panels in a home. This is a very large home. It's got a 400 amp service, which means that each of these panels is 200. We have two separate panels outside. These are actually sub panels. And we have two main panels outside that you can shut all the power off to the home at. You can also shut them off here with these two right here. These panels are really, really nice. They're wired proper. I don't see anything in here that is bad. And I really like to see good quality work. If you look at anything long enough, I'm sure you can try to find something to pick at, but home inspectors are only legally looking for safety concerns and major repairs. That's really just our bread and butter. If we try to hold every little piece of a home to a code or a standard, we're going to be here all day. So we're just looking for safety and major repair. And not only is there nothing in these panels of that, but they're very clean and very well done. So in a sub panel, we have to have things done a little bit differently in a main panel. A sub panel is any panel after the first panel in the home. And in a sub panel, you have to have your grounds and your neutrals to be separated, and we've got that here. So these are the wires that are coming from the main panel. This is the ground. It's called an equipment grounding conductor, but most people are just going to call it a ground. And it's going up to the grounding bus bar where all of the grounds in the home go to. And what these do essentially is they cause your breakers to trip in the event that you have a fault. So the live wires go out from the breakers, they go to your receptacles, your lights, whatever. If a wire, for whatever reason, comes loose, a live wire, and it touches something like a metal box, if it is grounded or bonded properly through these ground wires, it'll actually cause your breaker to trip, which is an important safety consideration. And that's what that does. Even though it's called a ground, this actually has nothing to do with the ground. There's another wire at the main panels called a ground, and that actually does touch the ground, and that serves a completely different purpose. But grounding is a pretty complicated topic. But anyways, this has to be separated from the neutrals over here. And the reason is that there is current that flows on this neutral. And we don't want current flowing on the ground wires on a normal basis, so we have to separate them. We've got all single taps. There's no double taps on the neutrals, which is really good. Our box is bonded. Some people will call this grounding the box. The box itself is connected to the ground system through this green screw. It's called a bonding screw. It is required by code to be green, but in most older homes, it's not. It's just going to be silver. So you just have to kind of learn where they are in older homes. I've memorized the locations of grounding screws in most panels that I see. You can also put one over here. If you were using this as a main panel, you would have to have these two together. But in a sub panel, we don't do that. All of the breakers, all of the insulation is cut back properly. There's no wires that are sticking too far out with cut insulation too far, or where the insulation's in contact with the screw, which is a fire hazard. It's all very clean. Everything's labeled with these Romex sleeves right here. Of course, they're labeled in the actual panel as well. We've got connectors at all of the openings. There's no missing knockouts of any type. Everything is looking really good. We've got some AFCI breakers up here. I've already tested these, but these are just designed to detect arcs and shut the power off. They're just for safety. This is just such a really good panel. And one thing that I really like what they've done is all the wires are back in the panel. You see none of them are even halfway up towards the front. And a lot of times, especially in older homes, we see wires where they're right next to the screw openings. And that can be a big deal because sometimes screws can actually cut into those wires and it can cause them to, blow up essentially. I've had that happen to me a few times. Even flathead screws can do that. So this is very clean work. It's very proper work, and I like to see it. I know home inspectors, we like to talk about the bad that we find. We get a little zealous about that. I mean, it is our job. But at the end of the day, I respect good work, and I don't want to nitpick. I'm here for my client's benefit to find safety or major repair concerns. I'm not trying to nitpick or just make a big deal out of every little thing. So yeah, this is a 400 amp service and a really big home and a really nice home as well.